Welcome back, Langchain automators, large language model enthusiasts, and my dear friends to Insight Builder channel. VectorStores Showdown, ChromaDB, FAISS, Pinecone, and Pgvector. Which vector store is better? We are going to work with Postgres database, Langchain, and OpenAI embeddings. So before we actually dive into it directly, we have to understand certain things. What we are going to do with the vector store databases. See, we are going to get the vectors from somewhere. So we are going to either get it from OpenAI embeddings or we are going to get it from other sources. But making these vectors are costly. Okay, so we have to store the data that whatever we are getting from anywhere, and we have to store it for our documents because it's going to be useful for a long time to come. The second thing is that by understanding these vector stores, by comparing them, we can actually make it accessible to a lot of people. Okay, what is happening is when you are trying to work with any of the applications, you will for sure require a stable database because you want to keep your vectors somewhere, right? So if by doing this video, you will be able to get a fair idea what is good, what is bad, what is ugly. And yeah, I have been going through that for quite some time. I have been working on a couple of projects also, so I have been researching it for myself. And reading data from vector stores has to be reliable too. See, after you create the database, you should be able to read it back from it. So that kind of a challenge is also there. And finally, if the database is open source, then it is very accessible, right? That is also one of the major point I wanted to highlight. Yes, we don't have the large language models right now open sourced, but the things are moving. So you guys must have seen lots of videos. So the things are moving on. So that is why I'm working on the aspect of this technology which can be put into the production. So yes, there are development happening in large language models. That is going on. That is that's a different track altogether. We have four different vector stores that we are targeting: FAISS, Pgvector, Pinecone, and Chroma. I have directly put the commands that you need to use for creating the vector stores as a database. Okay, so in case of FAISS, you need to use this. Use this commands to create the vector store first and save it locally, and then you need to load it using the same command, load local. And in case of ChromaDB, we have to use this format. In case of Pgvector, you have to use this format, and in case of Pinecone, you have to use this format. Okay, this is all basic Python. What do you call it? Abstractions, guys. So I am not going to go over this, step by step. You can actually check just a minute. I will go to the browser for your. If you come to the Langchain library, right, you will be able to find all the details of how to, work with the vector source. But the challenge is in certain parts of the documentation, you actually don't get the information on how to read the database that is already created. So for an example, in case of Pgvector, if you try to find out, so there is a way to create the vector store inside the PG Postgres database. Even that is actually a challenge. I'll be explaining you how to do that. But before that, you see that here. But the point is, okay, I have created the database, I have created the collection. How to read it back? So that is something that we will be seeing. So for Pinecone, I already have created a video, so you guys can actually take a look at that from the playlist. So this particular playlist will have all the necessary will have all the necessary videos. You can actually take a look at the discussion that I was having for Pinecone. So when I was having the discussion for Pinecone, then only I realized, okay, I might have to have a comparison of all this vector stores. So today we'll be discussing that only. Okay, that is our main intention. But before that, I would also want to show you certain things that that I have endured. Okay, so in case of FAISS, I have already tested it. I have used it locally and it works well. Okay, you have to do just a pip install FAISS -cpu. It works well. Among all these things, I would actually go for FAISS. Okay, I am disclosing the result ahead of time because this is way more easier. I have already tested it. Okay, not only me, I have already tested it with one of the customer also. Next, in case of Chroma, believe me, I had almost literally given up, because there is a lot of things the ChromaDB pip install actually starts installing, because it starts installing Torch for getting the sentence transformers and the related libraries. So if your machine, in case if is not sufficiently powerful, then the Torch installation itself will bail out. So there is a lot of challenges in case of Chroma. Okay, but even then, if you are still what, because I have been doing everything over the collab notebook, for experimentation it's fine, guys. But now the things have started maturing and we are going into production phase, so we need to understand how it is happening in the production, right? Or else how are you going to manage it? So I can keep on giving all the information, but in real production, when you are going to discuss with your team, what are you going to discuss? So that is more important, right? And after even I get the database loaded locally, I started getting errors. So the errors was related to the count of the embedding, what is it called, embedding vector length. So I actually don't actually go for Chroma. Okay, FAISS is okay, Pgvector is also okay. Pgvector has its own challenges, we will be resolving it. It is a challenge that can be resolved. See, even after all this challenge, I will still prefer Pgvector. Okay, if you are going to go for secure setup, if you are going to production, see, FAISS has its own challenges, okay, when it goes for production, but for local environment where you are testing, where your colleagues are testing, this is a good option. It's like local install. But when you are going for production, go for Postgres. I'll be telling you how to do that in a couple of minutes. So we'll be going to this particular notebook. I'll be sharing you the link and you can go there and you can start directly checking it out. Okay. The important point here is that in this case of this video, it's not about more about practice, guys. This is more about comparing. So take your time, understand each and every vector stores, okay, and then start working. See what is the challenges that you're facing. Okay. The most important point is that the most important point I wanted to highlight is these four. So you have to check reliability, accessibility, open source, and also the speed with which and the cost with which you can build them and keep them. Okay, all these things we have to look at it. I did not create any percentage, a chart or something, but yeah, I hope that you guys are okay with this. Let us go to the browser right now. Okay, so what I've done here is that I have basically installed all these things. You have to install Pgvector if you are going to use. Okay, you are going to use Pgvector in this case. Okay, install install Pgvector and start start the activity. Okay, see all these things that I'm showing here, right? Install it on your own laptop. So this is going to be a little different. In the usual case, what I always suggest is that install it in Collab. Okay, do this first. First complete installing in Collab and working out the entire process. But then I want you guys to test it out inside your own system, inside your own Python setup. And if you want to create a virtual environment, install all these things, start the Jupyter notebook there, import the Jupyter notebook into that environment, this notebook into that environment. And yeah, this Linux play I've been using for a couple of times, so you must be knowing where to get it. If not, then you can check it out in the repo. So I'll be sharing you the GitHub repo also. The most important point is that I am going to just use that Linux play and I am showing you all the options. Okay, so Chroma first comes and then comes FAISS. Okay, and then I'm not going to execute these things. Okay, so I'm just showing you, and then Pinecone comes. So you need to get your API keys. Okay, and then just give me a moment. And then we have the OpenAI API key. Okay, so I'm showing the API key. Don't worry about that. I'll be by the time you get this video, I would have already changed it. So don't worry about that. The important point is this: you should actually install Pgvector, and you are not going to work on the Pgvector. That is, you are not going to install Pgvector directly on your local Postgres installation. It's extremely difficult, guys. I tried it. It is actually not working. What is happening is you have to actually do a create extension. Just a minute, I will show you. Okay, I am in Pgvector library. So the Pgvector is enables one important thing. Okay, what happens is it actually enables you to create vector type inside your Postgres database. This is what it does. Okay, this is the problem this library solves. So you have to use this create extension.vector inside your PostgreSQL PSQL client, and then it will start working. However, if you try using this method of using Pgvector make install, there will be lots of challenges. Okay, I tried in Ubuntu, I tried it in Manjaro. There are lots of challenges I am facing. Okay, So I am expecting that you guys might also face it. So the solution is that we always have the Docker. So you can actually pull this Docker down, uncanet/pgvector. I did that. It works well. Okay, pull this Docker down, start the Docker. I hope that you know how to start the Postgres Docker, give the necessary environment variables, ensure that you have forwarded the right port. Okay, do all this stuff. Okay, and then you will be having the Postgres Docker up and running. This particular step is going to be a bit of a challenge, guys. I hope that you will be able to do it. If you are facing any challenge, there are a couple of videos that I have already taken regarding the Postgres Docker setup, as well as getting your own Postgres database also. Okay, you might be wondering, if you look at my playlist, right, all the playlists are actually geared towards helping you to go to production. So I have been facing this problem a lot of time for a long time. So I wanted to create a kind of an ecosystem inside my YouTube channel, so where you can, if you are facing any of the challenges, you can come to this video and you can check it out. So you can see how to install Postgres and connect Postgres using EC2. So you can check this out. And also, if you want to use Docker also, there is a separate video for that. You can check it out. Now, coming back to the discussion on Pgvector, you have to just import this Pgvector and start giving the connection chain. I have kept it all bare, guys. So the host name, the port, the username, password, everything is bare. So don't worry about this, because I am actually using it in EC2 server. So if these things are not going to be stable, I anyway will be bringing down that server in a couple of minutes. After that, you have to use this series of series of syntax to get the things up and running. So this is similar to what you do in Chroma. Okay, here is where the challenge happens. Okay, if you don't have the Pgvector created, let me actually show this to you. I actually missed one step. Let me go back to the terminal, and in the terminal, I'm going to connect to my EC2 instance. So the EC2 instance has the so what I'm doing is I am having Docker inside my EC2 instance. Okay, because right now I cannot run anything in my local machine, so I'm using that. So inside the Docker, inside the EC2 machine, I have this Docker running. It is called as Pgvector. Okay, and this is what it is running. And I have opened the 5432 port. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the Postgres instance that is running inside the Docker. Just a minute, guys. I am struggling with my Pgvector exec. What happens is, I used to think I am really good in talking and typing. In fact, I am not. So pretty recently I found it. Docker exec it Pgvector. Pgvector is fine. I'm going to use PSQL, and I'm going to use user as Postgres. So doing this way, what will happen is I will bypass the password request. Okay, so I'll be directly here. And once you're in this location, right, then you have to make this call. So you have to say create extension, and you have to say vector. Okay, once you do that, once you give a semicolon and press enter, here it says extension vector already exists because I've already created it. Okay, but this is inside the Uncanny Pgvector Docker. So please understand, don't do it in local environment. You will struggle a lot. Okay, so do it here. Anyway, even if you're going to do it here, there are ways to connect this particular Docker to your local volume also. So go through the respective playlist that I've already shared. You can do it very easily, and in that way your data will be locally also available in your own local machine also. Right, so this is already done. I want to show the tables that it will create. So it will create Langchain PG collections and Langchain PG embedding. This is the tables it will create by default. After you run this, let us go to the browser. After you run this command, so after you connect, once you run this command, if connection is proper, it will create this, create the two tables that I showed you. So let me go back and let me show you. So let us do a select star from a Langchain collections. Okay, and I'm going to execute it. You will see that the collection name is already there. It is called as testdb, and you might be wondering, Kamal, there is no any data related to the database. What is happening here? Okay, what happens is, this is only showing you the collection name. And how the collection is getting stored is not shown directly to you in the database when you are checking it. So if you expected, okay, I can look at the collections and start working with it from the database, okay, no, you cannot. At this moment, I have to still explore it. I don't know. Okay, so don't mind me. I will explore it, and if I find anything interesting, I'll be sharing it in the future. But as of now, this is what you can find out. Good. Now let us go back to the browser, and in the browser, you are going to use the use this option, and you will get to know what is going on. So once this successfully executes, okay, then what will happen is you will be able to do a similarity search. So if you do a similarity search, I'm going to use this command. So I'm going to use linux_play.txt. This is my playbook for Linux commands. So I practice using this playbook so that I can, master most of the Linux commands. So what I've done is, okay, if I want to, put it inside the database, I'll better ask some questions, right? So when I do a similarity search with this query, for which commands there will be text files. So let me show you back. So I have actually mentioned it here. There will be text file for grep command, set command, and awk command. Okay, and I have asked for the similarity score here, and you'll see that it will actually give me the necessary similarity scores. So similarity score is that based on this command, the query that we have given, the similarity search with score will internally check with the document as well as with the query that which part of the document will be similar to the query. So this is pretty important. I will again repeat. When I am asking a question, it is in plain English. The plain English question is converted to vectors, and that vectors are then sent to the document store or the vector store, and it is compared with all the available vectors already, and the similarity is checked, and whichever is more similar. So here we see that these four are similar. So text document is there in all these cases, CSV files are there. So whatever is similar inside the text database, the vector store, is returned back. Okay, this is what this particular method does. You don't need a large language model for this. This is pure mathematics. Okay, now next what happens is, okay, now I told you that how it works. So creating a direct Pgvector object is very simple. Now you have already created the collection, but that is not enough. When you have created the collection, you need to share the collection with someone, and you must be able to allow them to use that collection also. So for that, you have to use this command. Okay, I have already created this collection testdb, and now you can use a simple retrieval QA chain and make this particular reloaded DB as a retriever, and rest of the stuff you can do, guys. So if I execute this right now, so you will see that it will reply back to me that there will be text file for grep, CSV files for awk, and cut commands, and the license file text document. So all these things will be given to you as answer along with the sources. So in this short and informative video, what I wanted to clearly share with you guys is the comparison. So now that I have actually showed you the challenges that you will face with Pgvector, so I hope that you will be able to use it effectively. So I don't see, once you know this, once you actually cross the barrier of getting the vector extension installed, and then it's actually pretty simple. Okay, and I also told that the databases has to be open source and accessible. That's one thing, and the vector stores are created using the embeddings, right? If I tried Hugging Face embeddings also. There the Pgvector actually creates a lot of problems. So what happens by default, the Pgvector documents are created for 1536 vector length. That is OpenAI's OpenAI embeddings vector specification. So it is creating for that. So if I use any other embedding like HF embedding, that is Hugging Face embedding, it is contradictory. I have to still do little more exercise on that. Probably I will understand what is going on at the backend by doing little more research. As of now, that is something that I found, and in fact I was so confident that I will be sharing the open source embedding options with you guys. However, at this moment I am unable to, but sure, in couple of days I will be working on these parts, and I will be getting back to you as soon as possible. I hope that you guys will like this particular video. Leave a like and do subscribe and share it with others. most important point is that you practice with this particular repo that particular Jupyter notebook. But then, as I told you, go back to the pull this entire Jupyter notebook down to your own environment, Python environment, install all this libraries, and then start working it out, because you are going to face challenges. And until unless you face challenges, you have not understood what is going on. And if you are going to go into production with that kind of a direct understanding, there are going to be challenges that you did not foresee. Okay, so I had already experienced this. That is why I am telling you guys again and again. The tech looks very simple, but in reality it is not. Okay, tomorrow or day after tomorrow, I am thinking about updating the comparison between which of the PDF documents readers and which of the splitters are more effective. So that is another comparison that I'm looking for. So because we have to compare things, guys. So now we are actually moving into the next step, where we have to use our real world stuff with the large language models and see how it works, how it replies, and it does really well. Okay, I am not kidding. I have been really surprised with the efficiency of the written answers. So stay tuned for those videos where I compare the PDF readers and splitters inside the Langchain module. That is the next thing that I'm targeting. So I hope that you like this video. Do subscribe for my channel, and without further ado, as usual with 4 words: practice, 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 practice. See you guys. Have a nice time.